In the bustling port city of Viridia, there lived a man named Kalen. He was a wealthy shipping magnate in his early 30s, known to everyone for his love of money, fast cars, and power. Kalen wore tailored suits, drove the latest models, and walked with his chin held high, as if the very ground was unworthy of his steps. He was proud, loud, and demanded respect. But behind the mansion walls and the platinum watch on his wrist, a deep, festering anger consumed him. His wife, Elara, had not given him a child. Elara was a quiet and gentle woman. She was beautiful, with warm amber eyes that often held a deep, unspoken sadness. She had married Kalen for love, not his fortune, and for 7 years she had stood faithfully by his side. But those 7 years had become a cycle of hope and despair, each month ending with the same heartbreaking news. One evening, the storm that had been building in their marriage finally broke. The house was silent, the air thick with unspoken accusations. Elara sat on the edge of their bed, her hands clasped tightly. Kalen entered, his tie loose, his face a mask of irritation. 7 years, Elara, Kalen shouted, slamming his car keys on the dresser. 7 years of waiting and still nothing. Do you want my name to die with me? Elara looked up, her voice trembling. Kalen, we've tried. It's not in my hands. Maybe we should see another specialist. There could still be hope. Hope. Kalen laughed bitterly. Is that all you have? My mother calls every day asking why you haven't given her a grandson. My friends mock me behind my back. You've made me a laughingstock. Tears welled in Elara's eyes. Please don't say that. I am your wife. We made vows. For better or for worse. Why are you throwing it all back at me? Because you are nothing to me now, he roared. What good is a woman who can't bear children? You live in my house, wear the clothes I buy, yet you can't give me one son. You're a curse, Elara. Her lips trembled. Don't call me that. I have prayed. I have cried myself to sleep every night. Do you think this doesn't pain me too? Kalen turned his back, pacing like a caged animal. I'm done with your tears. I won't let you waste any more of my life. Tomorrow, I'm speaking to my lawyer. This marriage is over. Elara gasped as if struck. Divorce? After everything? After I stood by you when you had nothing? Have you forgotten the love we had? Kalen turned, his eyes cold. Love doesn't produce heirs. My mother was right. I need a wife who can give me sons, not one who fills my house with silence. I want you out by tomorrow. Elara fell to her knees, clutching the hem of his trousers. Please, Kalen, don't do this. Give us more time. God can still answer us. He pulled away as if her touch burned him. God has nothing to do with this. You are the problem. You will leave. That is final. As her sobs echoed through the mansion, the staff whispered but dared not intervene. She made one last plea. Kalen, look at me. Look at the woman who cooked for you, cared for you, prayed for you. I gave you everything. Don't throw me away like I'm nothing. His heart was stone. He picked up his phone and called his lawyer. Barrister Evans, prepare the papers. I want a divorce immediately. Yes, she leaves tomorrow. Elara stared in disbelief. You already called him. You planned this? How could you? You are a burden, he said, his tone sharp. I am freeing myself. If you have any self-respect, pack your things tonight. I don't want to see you in the morning. With shaking hands, Elara packed a small bag, each folded item a memory now turned to ash. Kalen watched, arms crossed, his face impassive. She lifted her bag, tears streaming down her face. You will regret this, Kalen. One day you will see the truth. He didn't answer, simply looked away. She walked out of the bedroom, her slippers whispering on the marble floor. The house that was once her home now felt like a prison. She pushed open the heavy front door, the night air hitting her face. She looked back one last time and whispered, "I may leave with nothing, but I will not remain broken. My God will fight for me." She walked aimlessly through the lamplit streets, her bag clutched to her chest, until she found herself at the apartment of her oldest friend, Rhiannon. Rhiannon opened the door in her nightclothes, her eyes wide with shock. "Elara. What's happened? Are you hurt?" Elara could only cry, collapsing into her friend's arms. Rhiannon brought her inside, sat her down, and listened as the story poured out. "That man has no fear of God," Rhiannon hissed. "After all these years, and he never even checked himself. Elara, you've suffered enough." "I don't know where to start," Elara whispered. "You start here," Rhiannon said firmly. "This is your home now." The next day, Rhiannon insisted they go to the clinic. "Have you ever had a proper fertility test, Elara? To be sure the problem was even from you?" Elara shook her head. "Kaylin said it was me. He refused to be tested himself." "That ends today," Rhiannon declared. At the Crestwood Medical Center, they met Dr. Evans, a kind-faced man in his 40s. After a battery of tests, they returned 2 days later for the results. "Mrs. Elara," Dr. Evans said with a warm smile, "everything is perfectly normal. Your reproductive system is healthy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you." Elara covered her mouth, tears of relief and fury filling her eyes. "If there was no pregnancy after 7 years," the doctor continued gently, "the issue was likely not with you." Rhiannon jumped from her seat. "I knew it. That man lied to you." A new strength began to stir in Elara. She started helping Rhiannon with her small boutique, and soon they began a food business from the apartment's veranda. Elara's cooking, especially her seafood jambalaya, became famous in the neighborhood. She was no longer known as the woman Kaylin discarded, but as the woman with the magic touch. One Sunday, Rhiannon came home with news. "Kaylin is getting married. Some glamorous woman from the capital. He's inviting half the city to the wedding. He wants to show off his real wife." Elara simply nodded. "Let him." But that night, a plan began to form, not out of malice, but a need for closure. Meanwhile, a regular customer named Leo, a kind-eyed architect, had been frequenting her food stand. Their friendship grew slowly, built on quiet conversations and mutual respect. He admired her strength, and in him, Elara found a peace she had never known. They married in a small, joyful ceremony. To their astonishment, Elara soon discovered she was pregnant. During her first scan, the doctor smiled. "I'm hearing 3 heartbeats. You're having triplets." The joy was overwhelming. She gave birth to 3 healthy boys, and her life became full of a love she had never dared to dream of. Word of her miracle children spread through the city's gossip channels, eventually reaching Kaylin. Instead of humility, it fueled his pride. He decided to invite Elara to his lavish wedding to Adora, a wealthy socialite, hoping to see her humbled and alone. The invitation arrived in a gold-embossed envelope. Rhiannon was livid. The audacity. "You're not going." But Elara was calm. "He wants me to sit in a corner and cry. But I will show him the truth." On the day of the wedding, the grand hall was filled with the city's elite. Kaylin stood at the altar, smugly awaiting his triumph. Then, a sleek black Rolls Royce pulled up. The door opened, and Elara stepped out, radiant in a sunset orange gown. Holding her hands were 3 identical little boys in matching suits. A stunned silence fell over the crowd. All eyes turned from the altar to the vision at the door. Kaylin's jaw went slack. He watched, frozen, as Elara walked calmly to the front row seat he had reserved for her and sat with regal grace. Adora, standing at the altar in her diamond-encrusted gown, saw the children, saw Kaylin's horrified expression, and understood everything. "You told me she was barren," she whispered, her voice sharp with betrayal. "I thought she was," Kaylin stammered. "You thought? You never got tested, did you? You lied to me just like you lied to her." The argument unfolded before the entire gathering. Adora's face hardened with realization. "I can't marry you, Kaylin. Not today, not ever." She dropped her bouquet and walked out. The wedding was over before it began. Later that evening, a humbled Kaylin appeared at Alara's door. He looked broken. "I ruined everything," he said, tears in his eyes. "I judged you wrongly. I was a fool. I got tested. The problem was with me all along." Alara listened, her heart calm. "I don't hate you, Kaylin. I've moved on. But you should have known that love isn't about heirs. It's about partnership." "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I forgive you," she said. "Now you need to forgive yourself and learn from this." As he left, Rhiannon looked at Alara with awe. "You're stronger than I could ever be." "I'm not strong," Alara replied, watching her son sleep. "I just finally learned my worth." Kaylin's empire began to crumble as the story spread. His reputation was in tatters. But in his solitude, he began the slow, painful journey toward humility. Alara's life, meanwhile, was filled with the simple, profound joys of family. She had not only found love but had become a living testament to a simple truth: what others may call barren, fate can turn into abundance. The silence in Kaylin's mansion was no longer a sign of power, but of absence. The staff spoke in hushed tones, their respect now tinged with pity. The grand parties were a thing of the past, the only calls he received were from creditors and gossip columnists. The doctor's diagnosis, severe oligospermia, a near-total lack of viable sperm, echoed in his mind, a life sentence of his own pronouncement. He had tried to see Adora, to explain, to beg for a second chance. Her family's security had turned him away at the gate of their estate. The message was clear: he was a social pariah, a cautionary tale. His mother, the very source of the pressure that had poisoned his marriage, had returned to her hometown, too ashamed to show her face in Viridia. One afternoon, while sorting through old financial records in a desperate attempt to salvage his crumbling business, Kaylin found a small, forgotten box at the back of his safe. It was filled with mementos from the early years with Alara. A faded photo of them laughing on a cheap fishing boat, a seashell she had picked up on their first vacation, a handwritten note she'd left on his pillow once: "No matter how rough the sea, we'll sail it together." He sank into his leather chair, the note trembling in his hand. He had chosen the mansion over the fishing boat, the platinum watch over the seashell, his pride over her partnership. He had thrown the one person who truly loved him overboard to weather the storm alone. A new, urgent need seized him. It wasn't about apologies anymore. It was about amends. Meanwhile, Alara's restaurant, the Triple Anchor, was thriving. The story of her dramatic appearance at the wedding had become local legend, drawing curious customers who stayed for the incredible food. Leo had designed a beautiful, airy space with a play area for the boys, whose laughter was now the soundtrack of her life. One busy lunch service, a courier delivered a plain, thick envelope. Inside was no glittering invitation, but a set of legal documents. It was the deed to a commercial property on Viridia's most popular waterfront strip. A note was paper-clipped to it, written in Kaylin's familiar, sharp handwriting. "Alara. This building once belonged to my company. It is now debt-free and yours. The restaurant you have built from nothing deserves a home that matches its quality. This is not an apology, those are words, and I have already given you too many empty ones. This is a correction. It is the least I can do. K***. Leo looked over her shoulder, his brow furrowed. "What is this? What does he want?" Alara traced the embossed seal on the deed. "I think he wants to stop drowning," she said quietly. She was wary. Was this another game? A trap dressed as generosity? After much discussion with Leo, they decided to have their lawyer inspect the offer. It was clean. The property was fully paid for, the title clear. It was a gift with no strings attached. They accepted. The move to the new location was a transformation. The Triple Anchor became the hottest culinary destination in the city. Ilara was no longer just a good cook, she was a successful entrepreneur, a symbol of resilience. Weeks later, from her new office window, Ilara saw a familiar figure standing across the street, partially hidden in the shadow of an awning. It was Kalen. He wasn't trying to come in. He was just watching the busy terrace, the happy customers, the waitstaff rushing in and out. He saw a family, her, Leo, and the triplets, sharing a meal at a corner table, laughing. Their eyes met across the distance. He didn't smile or wave. He simply nodded, a slow, deep acknowledgement of the life she had built without him. Then he turned, slipped his hands into his pockets, and walked away, disappearing into the flow of the crowd. He had seen the truth, not as a shocking revelation, but as a quiet, everyday reality. She was whole. He was the one who was broken. Ilara felt a final, gentle release. The last ghost of her old life had come, seen, and finally conceded. The chapter was truly closed. A few months later, a small article appeared in the business section of the Viridia Gazette. Kalen shipping dissolved. Former tycoon Kalen has reportedly left the city to pursue other ventures. There was no fanfare, no dramatic exit. He had simply gone. That evening, as Ilara closed up the restaurant, she found a single seashell placed carefully on the hostess stand. It was just like the one from the box in his safe. She picked it up, held its smooth, cool surface for a moment, and understood. It was his surrender. He was returning the memory to her, entrusting her with its care. She placed it on the windowsill in her kitchen, where the morning sun would catch it. It was no longer a symbol of what was lost, but a touchstone of how far she had come. She had navigated the roughest of seas and found her way to a calm and joyful shore. Her story was no longer about the man who had left her, but about the life she had built, the love she had found, and the three little anchors who kept her heart forever steady.